If you're someone like me who's always searching for passive income opportunities that beat the stock market or simple savings accounts, this video will likely be the most enlightening thing that you watch this week. This is not going to be a generic list of garbage that I searched and Googled and then whipped out in a couple hours so that I could make some quick YouTube ad revenue off of your views. These are very real passive income opportunities that I personally am using, and I can virtually guarantee that there are multiple ones that you have not heard of. Now, some of these opportunities require time and some of them require money. Those that require money are investments, but I can virtually guarantee they're beating your bank account or your stock portfolio. The other ones require time. And that means that they require a fair amount of time up front, but once you put in that time up front, then they can be maintained for a couple hours a month, and to me that still counts as passive income. And one more item to note, I'm going to try to add a risk level to each opportunity ranging from 1 being safe to 10 being a Ponzi scheme, so that you can kind of get an idea of what I think about each one. That way you don't come back to me in a few years, say you invested in something I told you to and you lost all your money. That's what 10 means. So yes, some of these opportunities are almost no risk, but some of these I'm pretty confident are straight up Ponzi schemes, and I'll let you know. I just put money into them a while back for fun, and somehow they are still paying out. So now that we're on the same page, no one's gonna come attack me for talking about certain ones of these. Let's dive in and hear about these opportunities. The first one that I wanna talk about is called YieldNodes, and I kinda wanna start with one that I think most people haven't heard about, just to prove that these are real opportunities that a lot of people maybe have not been able to take advantage of. Now, what YieldNodes is it's a way to profit off crypto without all the crazy, scary volatility. Meaning, if any of you have ever invested in crypto, you probably know that some days you'll wake up and feel like you're a millionaire, and other days you'll wake up and feel like you'll be homeless by the next day, because the crashes are absolutely mind-boggling sometimes. Now, what YieldNodes does is they actually go out and create master nodes. And without getting into a huge technical side of what a master node is, essentially blockchains are decentralized, meaning they don't run on a typical server like you would traditionally see in a normal company. They run on decentralized servers where anyone out there can go create a node on a blockchain and participate in what that blockchain is doing. Now, as part of that, those that are creating these nodes and participating actually get paid in that blockchain's crypto to do so. And so what YieldNodes does is they go create these nodes for you, because they're complicated and expensive and you can lose a lot of money done wrong. And they create these nodes, and then you get paid 85% of what your node makes, and they get 15% of what your node makes. Now, that's not what makes these crazy. What makes this company crazy is that it's been operating since 2019, and you can see right here, its average monthly yield for the last 31 months has been 10% a month, meaning if you compound, you're getting about 213% every single year. And in fact, if you compare YieldNodes to any traditional investments out there, which you can see right here, it's beating everything. It's that blue line right there. It beats Bitcoin, Dow Jones, gold, everything since its incorporation in 2019. Now, when I'm looking at investments like this, I'm looking at the risk and the reward, right? And right here, I'm seeing a very large reward that maybe 20, 30, 40x is what I could get any other place with my money. And so I'm willing to put some money into that because of that risk reward ratio. Now, let's talk for just a second about the risk, and then we'll move on. Now, YieldNodes says on their own site, masternoding is not trading, so loss of capital is highly unlikely because they're actually creating an asset and then making money off the asset. There are expenses, but servers can be rented and contracts can be canceled. Now, I will say that one of the things that they do rely on is the price of the coin that they get paid in, meaning if there ever is a huge drop in a price of a coin, then you could potentially lose money with YieldNodes. All of that being said, I'm looking at track record, and I'm seeing a track record that's been successful for 3 years now, including through COVID-19, and that's why I'm willing to put not all, but a good chunk of money inside of YieldNodes. Now, if you want to learn more about YieldNodes, you want a tutorial on how to get started with YieldNodes, or you want to just sign up for YieldNodes, I'll leave links to all 3 of those down below. My other channel has lots more information about this. It's very simple. All you do is create an account, you deposit Bitcoin, and then it'll tell you how much money they've put into nodes with your funds like that, and then you actually will get an ROI right over here. You can see right here that in the month of May, I made 1.3% the first week, 1.2% the next week, and 1.2% again the third week. All of that time, crypto markets have been going crazy and dropping, and so I'm pretty happy with those returns. Now let's talk about one that requires a little bit more time, but it's much safer and it requires zero money to get started. So for those of you coming in with that idea, this is where you can start, and that's YouTube ad revenue. So you can see right here, this is the dashboard of this channel. I own 2 major YouTube channels that actually bring in revenue, and this is the earnings from this particular channel that you're watching right here. You can see I get about 200,000 views in a month, and you can see my estimated revenue is about $5,000. So if you remember, before you click play, watching this video, there was an ad that popped up. Very, very likely that you clicked skip ad as soon as YouTube gave you that option, but not everybody does that. And when somebody doesn't skip that ad, they pay YouTube in order to have that opportunity to put an ad there. And YouTube pays you, who's the one who actually made the video, a good portion of that money that they receive. And so I like to describe YouTube videos as digital real estate investing, meaning that every single YouTube video I put out can sit there on YouTube and it can get views today, it can get views tomorrow, it can get views next year and bring in money every single time it gets a view. Now, to prove my point, you can see my stats from my YouTube channel over the last year. There was a vacation that was 4 weeks long. We took right in here. We took a 2-week vacation right in here somewhere, and then you can see Christmas is in there somewhere as well. But overall, there's almost no change in my revenue, despite disappearing from work for a few weeks. And so it's very, very passive, and you can continue to build it up as big as you'd like. And then at any point you'd like, you can stop, take a break, go on a vacation, and it will continue to, these digital pieces of real estate will continue to bring in revenue every single month, though probably you'll lose a little bit off of that every single month as time goes on. If you're interested more in learning how to do this with YouTube, I will leave a link down below as well to a YouTube course that I have that I put out last year. You can dive right into that if you really want to make YouTube your form of passive income. Number 3 is much less risky and something that I've been in since about September of last year, and it's called Fundrise. Now, what Fundrise is it's an REIT, and if you're not familiar with what that is, it's a real estate investment fund that essentially buys a bunch of real estate and then you buy into that fund, and so you're able to get a bunch of gains from real estate investments without actually purchasing and managing real estate, which a lot of people don't want to do. Now, I put $10,000 into Fundrise last September just to see kind of how it played out, how it worked, and how it stacked up to other investments. Now, you can see I put in $10,000, and every quarter they make these payouts. So I got a big payout there, big payout there, big payout there. It's been about 8 or 9 months now, and that $10,000 has turned into $12,100. This means that I've made about a 21% return on one of the safest investments on the planet, and I've done it in 9 months. To me, this was incredible, and I'm going to be putting more money into Fundrise after my September year mark hits. And what I love about them is they actually go and show you the projects that your money is in. You can see right here, there's 177 projects, and a lot of them are just single family rentals, which is something that I really believe will continue to grow forever. And so a lot of single family rentals, but they also get into commercial. You can see new home construction, commercial buildings like that. And so it's really cool just to be able to go and look and say, oh, okay, this is where my money is. And then see, that's why I made this 21% gain. As with everything else, I will leave a link down below to Fundrise if you'd like to get started working with Fundrise like I did. Moving on, let's get back into the crypto world for a few minutes. And I want to talk a little bit about something called a grid bot. Now, what a grid bot is it's a trading bot that works in Forex or crypto. And once again, without getting into the logistics, they create buy and sell orders at a very consistent interval. So you can see on the screen, they just place a bunch of buy orders and a bunch of sell orders. And as long as the price of a certain crypto or Forex just continues to bounce within this range, it continues to buy and sell over and over and over again. Every time it goes up, it'll sell a bunch, right? Every time it goes down, it'll buy a bunch, or the reverse of that. And you'll be able to continue to make money as long as the price of the coin kind of stays in somewhat of a range. Now, I've been doing this for about 8 or 9 months now. You can see right here, I'll show you kind of some of the gains that we've been able to have with this. Let's see, 55%, right? 86%, 4%, 37%. So it kind of just depends on the coins that you're trading and things like that. But there's a lot of potential for gains. And I'll willingly admit that I've had losses in there as well. Plenty of losses, lots of gains. Overall, I've been profitable on these. And it's pretty fun to just watch this grid bot make money in a market where the coins or the price of these stocks or coins are not going up or down. They're kind of just bouncing around, and you're still able to hop in and make some gains. Now, since I warned you that we would probably have Ponzi schemes, let's talk about the most Ponzi-ish thing that I'm in. I honestly hesitated bringing this up, but I really want to show you basically every place that my money is. So I'm going to bring this up with the full understanding that I'm pretty sure that what we're looking at here is a form of a Ponzi scheme. What it is it's called Cash FX. It's in the Forex space, of course. And what they do is, at least what they tell you they do, is you deposit money and they will actually go and trade that money in Forex for you, and then you'll get the gains for that. Now, I totally understand that a lot of times this is not real, and so I only put in a couple $100 about 8 months ago to see what would happen. Now you can see right here, I get emails every week as my $300 continues to make commissions. Each of these emails represents about a $9 to $10 commission, and I've got them basically steadily on autopilot for the last 8 months. It means they've at least outlasted for 8 months, right? And you can see right here in my account, I took out a $100 withdrawal to make sure that it would work. So I've made about $263 total dollars off of my $300 investment. Now that all seems great, fine and dandy, except for a few things. As I've typically noticed with things like this, I have no idea how 95% of their site works. They use all kinds of things like rewards and bonuses and matching and referral programs and all kinds of fun things that you get in there and you really don't fully understand what's happening, right? Matrices and unilevels and trees. Anyway, I get in there and I'm like, I don't even know what's happening right now. The only thing I know how to look at is that I have a balance and that it looks like it's making some money. The other thing that I really don't love about it, and that kind of makes me wonder what's going on back there, is in their terms, and I figured this out when I made my first withdrawal, anytime a user makes a withdrawal from their balance, there is a 20% withdrawal fee charge. Now that's telling me that they need that 20% to go back in and to be able to fund other people and things like that. That's my personal thoughts on what's going on there. And honestly, I think that there's probably a good chance at some point they're not able to make payouts, and that's why I'm just trying to pull out my initial money pretty quickly. But this is something that I dabbled in. It was fun to watch those commission checks come in. Not very fun to pay that 20% withdrawal fee, but to each his own. The next one is a little bit safer, and it's what's called a hard money loan. And I've been doing this for a while now with connections that I've built up in the real estate industry. And essentially what it is when people want to buy a house, rehab the house very quickly, and then refi or sell it, a lot of times they won't go to a traditional bank. They'll go to a hard money lender. And what they'll do is they'll come and they'll say, I only want a loan for 2 or 3 months, and I'll pay you 10% if you'll make that loan to me. And so you're able to make this loan and get a really hefty return. The nice thing is it's still backed up by the piece of real estate that they purchased. So if there's ever an issue of them not paying back the loan, you typically can go and take that piece of real estate that they use as collateral for the loan, and you're able to get drastically bigger returns than a typical savings account or anything. Like I said, I typically am able to get on a 3 or 4 month period a 10% interest rate. Now, the way that I got into it and the way I work it right now is I attended real estate investment clubs and I made connections and I talked to people, and now I just use those connections, and that's how I go about it, because I have people that I trust that are basically doing the research and helping me out and making this work. That being said, you can Google search and find brokers that will help you find people that are looking for hard money loans, and a lot of times they'll actually help and do a little bit of the research ahead of time as well, and you can find those in your area just using Google. Personally, I would go the connection route and go join some real estate investment clubs, make some connections, network, and really find people you trust and want to work with, but to each his own on this. The next one I want to talk about is selling digital courses. I can virtually guarantee that you have some knowledge that other people out there want. And if you are willing to figure out how to sell it, you can make a lot of money off of that knowledge. And so one of my passive income streams is selling courses. Now you might say, how is selling courses passive? That sounds like a business that has to sell things and does a lot of work. And that is true depending on how you decide to go about doing it. But let me show you how I go about doing it. So first off, you can see in my Stripe account right here, about every day I'm making $100 to $200 from selling some of these digital courses. Now, the way that I'm going about this is I actually sell a course on affiliate marketing. So I take people that are looking to figure out how to build a side hustle or build a side income, and I have a full training that teaches them how to do that with affiliate marketing. Now, what happens is people typically will turn to Google when they want this, right? They'll say, hey, I'm looking to make some extra money on the side. They'll do some research and they'll type something into Google. A great example of this is people that'll type in get paid to type. And I do a lot of research to figure out what people are typing in, but someone types in get paid to type, right? The first thing they see is Spencer's blog, 15 sites that will pay you to type in 2022. Now, as soon as they click over to my site to see how to learn to get paid to type, they see a page that looks like this. And then I have a pop-up that offers them 5 real side hustles to make money online. Okay, and I've done some research and found 5 that I think are the best ones to get them started. They put in their email and they go from there. Now, as soon as they put in their email address there, I send them what they were requesting, but now I have an email address. So next what starts to happen is emails get automatically sent out. And you can see right here, I have a software that does this for me. What these emails do is they start to introduce them to affiliate marketing and say, you're looking for a side hustle, you should look more into affiliate marketing. Each of those emails tells them to go to this page where I offer them a webinar that I teach them for about 2 hours, a little bit more about affiliate marketing, how it works, what the opportunity is, and things like that. Those that watch the webinar and decide that it's for them end up on this page and they can choose to purchase the full course right here. Now you can see that entire process doesn't involve me. At this point, I have writers that write the blog posts. I have the emails already set up to get them to this webinar. The webinar is automatic, meaning it's just automatically there for them as soon as they put in their email as a recording, and then they can make the decision on whether or not they want to purchase at that point. The entire process took a lot of work to set up, but now it runs on autopilot without me doing most of the work. And now, since we haven't talked about a Ponzi scheme in a while, let's move on to another. And again, I'm not claiming 100% this is a Ponzi scheme, but it seems to have all of the elements. This is called Hyperverse, and we'll show you my account here on the screen. Hyperverse is another one that's in the crypto space, and a lot of moving parts, a lot of confusing things, just like the last one we talked about. And essentially, though, what it is at its core is you deposit money, typically crypto, and they will 3x that crypto over a period of about 600 days. And I think now they've moved it up to 4x that crypto in a matter of 600 days. And so every single day they pay like 0.04 or some percentage to make it so that after 600 days, they have 4x'd the money you've put in. Now they claim they've created this stable coin that they pay out in, so they don't pay you out in US dollars or euros or anything like that, heaven forbid. They pay you out in this coin called HU. And HU is supposedly always going to be worth $1. That's kind of their claim right there. And so what that means is if they pay you 10.57 HU, you're actually making $10 a day. day, which is about what I'm technically making right now. Now, how they're actually making that money, no one really knows. That's how these things work, right? Something smells fishy. And they also, of course, heavily incentivize rebuys, meaning you take your money, you can go in here and you can rebuy another package. For example, I can buy a 125 HU plan, and eventually that will turn into 500 HU. I don't know how they're making that money. I don't know how they're keeping their coin pegged to $1. Honestly, there's a lot of things I don't know, and diving in, it changes a lot, and there's a lot of things that no one seems to know. So all the elements of a good Ponzi scheme here, right? But I did try it out, and I think I only started with about $1,000, and it's up to pending rewards of $11,000, meaning over the next 2 years, that's the total payout that I'll be getting. I've been rebuying all along the way because what the heck, it was only $1,000 for me. But the idea here is that you eventually end up with this massive fund, right? And it's paying you out and you're living off of it. The problem here is who knows what's going to happen if a bunch of people actually decide they want to pull out their money instead of continue to rebuy. It's also interesting how the Cash FX one we talked about earlier looks and sounds very similar to this, how it's very confusing. There's a lot of different moving parts, and there's a lot of confusion on how to get out money and things like that. I'm going to be honest, I'm not even going to leave a link down below to this one, but if you want to go search it out for yourself, you go right ahead. I'm not going to be told someday that I promoted it. The next one is much, much safer, and it's one that's done very, very well for me since I started doing this just a few years ago. And I've talked about this multiple times on the channel because I'm so happy with this team and this product, and it's called DFY Real Estate. Now, if you're anything like me, maybe you've got a job, a side hustle, you're doing a bunch of different things, and unless you're a full-time real estate professional, getting into the real estate game and actually succeeding can be really hard. And these guys are really good at doing it all for you, meaning that you come to them, you tell them you're looking to buy a property, they're gonna go find a good deal, they'll rehab it, they'll get it purchased, they'll get the property management set up, DFY, right? They'll do everything for you. You just have to provide the down payment to get that piece of real estate. Now, I've purchased 3 houses through them up till now, and they've all done really well. Essentially, once you tell them you're ready to purchase, they ask you to pick between a few locations. I chose Memphis for one of mine, and you can see right here, they send over this nice document that breaks down everything that they found in this house. They give you a picture of the house, they give you returns and everything like that. And then if you agree to it, they move you through the whole process and you're good to go. Very, very seamless, very, very painless. And so far it's been very, very rewarding to me and my family. I love this one so much because it's literally the most passive thing in my portfolio, and it's going to yield huge returns in 30 years. And it's doing that while it's yielding returns now. So the house that I purchased about 2 years ago is currently paying me $300 to $400 a month. It's got property managers, meaning that I do almost nothing to deal with it except for at tax season. And it's paying me that out while it's building equity in itself. And it's already built up about $80,000 in equity. And I can just sit here and basically pocket my $300 a month for the next 30 years. And at the end of 30 years, I will own the house outright. I'll be able to rent it for $1,400, $1,500, $1,600. And besides the property management fees, I'll be able to pocket all of that. The next one I'm going to talk about is, again, back in the crypto space, but a much safer version of the crypto space. And it's using a company called Nexo. Now, Nexo is a much more legitimate company, and the returns are significantly lower, but still really good, especially in the market today. So what Nexo is you can buy any kind of crypto, and that includes stable coins. Now, if you're not familiar with stable coins are coins that are pegged to the US dollar typically, meaning that they will always be worth $1. A good example of this is a stable coin called USDC, which basically has backing of $1 for every single coin they issue, meaning that you can always exchange the coin for $1. Now you can see right here in my Nexo account, I hold a few different coins. Basically any cryptocurrency that I'm going to hold and hold for a long time, I hold in here because it gets APY, meaning they give me more of it. Now you can see all these different coins that you can do this with, including Bitcoin, USDC, and typically these coins pay around 10%, meaning you'll get 10% a year just for holding them inside of Nexo, which is really, really good, especially if you're planning on holding these cryptocurrencies anyway. So I've got a few coins that I hold, and I just continue to get rewards for holding these, whether or not these coins go up or down. I just keep getting the rewards. You can see right here, I've made about $416 this year since I signed up for Nexo. I've got a portfolio balance of about $3,500, so nothing crazy, but it's nice to get 10% rewards in today's environment where it's very hard to get 1% rewards, and I consider this fairly safe, though I'll be honest, I'm not a financial planner, neither have I dove into any of their financials or anything like that. Now the next one is a cash value life insurance policy through Northwestern Mutual. Now this one doesn't work for everybody, it doesn't make sense for everybody, but in my particular situation, it did make a lot of sense. And what this is essentially I'm creating a whole life policy, meaning I have life insurance, and after I've paid it for 10 years, I can hold that life policy forever. Now I've got a pretty big death benefit of about $3 million. Please make sure no one tells my wife that, but essentially if I die, then they're able to get $3 million. Now, what really matters here though is you're able to borrow against that death benefit, meaning I've got a cash value right now, as you can see, of about $170,000, and I can borrow against that $170,000. Now that $170,000 will continue to go up even after after I've paid off this plan. It'll get interest, and typically that interest for me at least has been around 5%. It's gone as high as 10% in the past, but for me, I'm expecting about a 5 to 7% interest rate on these cash value that I'm holding right here. Now, the real beauty of this is I can actually borrow against that money and it will still continue to get interest. Meaning if I want to go buy real estate, I can borrow against that money right there, go buy my real estate deal. The money that I borrowed is making money via real estate. The money that I borrowed against is still making money via interest, and depending on the rate that I got, I could be making quite a bit of money still on my money. And while I totally understand why this sounds complicated and a little funky, it's called personal banking. I would encourage you, if you're interested in this, to watch some more YouTube videos on it. But this is what I'm doing, and partly how I'm funding some of these real estate deals and things like that is I'm using this cash value policy and borrowing against it. Now, the next one I want to talk about is owning an Airbnb. I want to kind of take a unique approach here though, because I don't own any Airbnbs outright. I'm not good at Airbnb. I don't fully understand it. And in order for that to work for me, I needed to partner up with people. And this is something that I want everyone to think here and think about, that there are a lot of opportunities out there that you may not have to bring cash to the table. There are other things you can bring to the table. And in this case, what I was able to bring to the table is simply a credit score. So the way that I ended up purchasing this Airbnb is I have some friends that have been buying up Airbnbs for a while now. They own quite a few. Now they've gotten to the point where they're no longer able to buy Airbnbs. Their income and their credit score isn't matching up, and the banks are no longer willing to lend them the money. So they approached me looking to just put my name on the loan, and I was able to get a portion of the funds from this Airbnb just by having my name on the loan. Now in the end, we decided to renegotiate, and we ended up actually having me put money in and take a bigger portion of it. But in order to get in on this deal, all I really had to have was a good credit score and some stable income. So this is a great opportunity for a lot of you out there who maybe don't have the income or maybe don't have the cash saved up in order to put a down payment down on something like this. There are a lot of ways that partnerships could be worked. Something that you could bring to the table is you could manage the Airbnb and run the Airbnb and do all that work. And there's a lot of people with money that don't want to do that part, and they would happily partner up with you and find some kind of deal that works for both of you, where you maybe put your credit score in and your income, as well as you manage the entire property, and they'll be the ones to bring in the down payment. That's an option, and it works really well. So what I'm trying to say is, while there's a lot of these deals that may seem out of your reach, there's a lot of creative ways to get involved in these deals. And the way that I've typically got in these deals is just by networking and creating partnerships and making friends with people that are doing things like this. The next one we're going to dive back into is in the crypto world again, and this is something called staking. Now, if you haven't heard of staking, I'm not going to go into all the details of it because it's kind of complicated. But essentially what staking is you put up your crypto coins in a certain coin. So the biggest one that I'm doing here is a cryptocurrency called Polkadot, and you take your coins and you essentially promise to lock them up, and you essentially become invested in this project, and you say, hey, I'm going to lock up these coins for a while, and if I do anything wrong, then you can take these coins, and then you get rewarded for doing that. So in this case, I'm getting a 12% reward on my Polkadot, which is one of those coins that I'll be holding for quite a while anyway. And you can see right here, I've made about $628. It was actually closer to like $1,500, but the entire crypto market is down right now, so that $1,500 has gone quite a bit down. But this is really easy to do. All I did was sign up on Kraken, I bought some Polkadot, and then I sat here and staked it, and it's been continuing to bring me in 12% for over a year now, I believe. Interesting side note, this little device right here is actually how I log into my Kraken account. It's kind of a fun little USB security key. I really like it. And the only way to log into that account is to actually have access to this. So much better than a password, much better than email, much better than a lot of things actually. And that's the only account that I actually use this little, it's called a YubiKey with. And the last one we'll breeze through here real quick is back into the real estate world. And this is actually a dorm that I own a really tiny piece of. It's like 900 rooms, and I'm like a 1, 2, maybe 3% owner of this property. But I really want to emphasize again, the way that I got involved in this is I'm not a real estate guy. And so I went to real estate clubs and things, and I networked and I met people. And when the opportunity came, when they had opportunities, they actually approached me and we were able to connect, and I was able to get in on these really good deals that I wouldn't have been able to get in otherwise, and I definitely never would have been able to put together myself. So for example, in this apartment right here, this person's done this quite a few times. They buy up these apartments, they improve them, they increase the occupancy rate by a lot, and then after a few years, they're able to sell them for quite a bit more. And everybody that got in the beginning is able to make a good chunk of money off of that. Now, this is not something I would ever do on my own. It's far beyond the scope of what I'm able to do or what I would want to do, but this is a project that I'm able to get into simply because I was able to network and make connections, which is hopefully the biggest moral of what I'm showing you here. You can't do all this just hiding in your basement and being scared of the world. You've got to get out there.
Suit up.
make connections, make friends, and then make partnerships, because there's a lot of skills or things that you can bring to the table. And there's a lot of things you probably can't that other people can bring to the table. And real value and real increases in your wealth can happen when you make these partnerships that make sense. And that's every single source of passive income that I have right now. Again, I couldn't emphasize this enough, especially with some of these. I am not promoting these projects. I'm simply showing you all the different places I've put my money so you can get an idea of what's out there. And if you want to go jump into something that's probably a Ponzi scheme, that's your choice. I would be very, very careful about it though, especially promoting it. And again, I'm definitely not a financial planner. I'm just a guy on the internet who's throwing darts at the wall and hoping to see some success here. If you want to follow along that journey, go ahead and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.